What's up, everybody, and welcome to Growing Up Gaming, your weekly podcast where we meet a new person of the internet to discuss their childhood with gaming and how it inspired their lives today. My name is Mitch Power. Again, thank you guys so much for returning each and every week to the show. Hopefully you've subscribed on iTunes or Google Play or, let's think of a new one. No, I wouldn't say Spotify. No. Maybe YouTube one day. I don't know. Maybe I'll just take all the shows and upload them on YouTube so that way people who can't listen to it on a podcast can watch it on YouTube. Whatever. We'll figure it out. Anyways, this week on the show, my guest, his name is Austin Daniels. I met him actually on Twitter. He sent me a tweet at GUG Podcast, just like anybody can, and asked to be on the show. And I was super grateful for that. And I said, of course you can. So he gets on the show to discuss his love for Crash Bandicoot. If you have any Crash Bandicoot related questions, feel free to send him a tweet. But we go into his gaming history. If you guys want to be on the show just like he is, absolutely, again, just send me a tweet at GUG Podcast or personally at MitchPower1116 on Twitter. Again, without further ado, let's get things started with Austin Daniels. What initially got you started with gaming? Do you remember if it was a friend, a buddy, a gaming kiosk, your mom and dad, like some people have? Like, do you remember what it was?
Well, it's two stories. We're getting into the... We're ready? Two stories. So the first one is that I remember my earliest gaming, and I think we consider console gaming, not like...
Or PC gaming. I
mean, the Tiger Electronics.
Yeah, I would say...
Yeah, not really.
Yeah, not the handheld, not the Tiger, not the move left and right and action button. Yeah, like... So probably, bad. Yeah,
well,
those were fun.
What I would do with those, you'd hold them up and you could see all the little animations, right? Or like if you hit the reset button, you could see them real quick.
Yep.
But anyways, I would say too, my cousin Danny, he had an SNES and he was into gaming and stuff like that. So when I were to go over there, I get to play some games with them like Metroid or Street Fighter or something like that. However, how I got into it's kind of weird. So this is a little bit of a journey, but we're on a podcast, so we can talk about that,
Absolutely.
I guess. So
that's what this show's about.
So for the longest time, my parents told us gaming's bad, it's evil, it's terrible, don't do that, you're going to be dumb if you can, right?
Right.
I'm sure there were kids that you grew up with that had similar situations, right? But so what happened is I said, well, what can we do? Like, what can we do to ever play some video games and stuff like that? My mom goes, we can, if you won it in a contest, we're not going to take it away from you. Yeah.
Well, that's like... Wow. Yeah. I mean, odds of that happening, depending on the contest you're entering in, it's not one of those, like, many will enter, few will win. Like, good luck trying to win anything out of those.
That's why she said it.
Of course she did.
So... That's
a sneaky way. I got to remember that. I'll use that as an excuse for my kids later. If you win it in a contest, I'll let you have it. I'll remember that.
Well, you might eat your words soon enough.
Yeah, exactly, right?
And so what happened was, if you kind of see where the story is going, so my sister and my dad were at church. They went a different day. And what happened is that they were coming home from church and they had to stop at the grocery store. And at the grocery store, there was a basketball shooting contest. And my sister likes basketball. She must have been 7 or around that time, something like that. Maybe like a year younger, something like that. And they were like, hey, and Andrew, my sister's name's Andrew. It's like, hey, Andrew, do you want to do this? And of course, like, she went out and did it. So she plays, and the grand prize was a TV. It was like some 32-inch TV or something like that. And she was all excited. If I win, I can put it in my room. So she goes to do the basketball contest, and she obliterates people. She's up like 32, and they said, wow, the next highest score is in the 20s. You're in like the 30s. You're doing well. You won. Or you probably are going to win unless somebody comes in here and wipes you off. So at least you'll get a prize at some point. Because you're like gift cards and all this other stuff for the following month. So this was a grocery store we go to all the time, and we never heard anything. So we were there like a month later, a couple weeks later, and while they were back in groceries, my mom would tell us, hey, go sit on the park bench or in the store and just wait for us when we're done. So we'd go there, and we're sitting there, and I turn around, and I see the bulletin board. And on the bulletin board, the highest score was like 26. And I said to my sister, I was like, Andrea, didn't you get like in the 30s? And she was like, yeah, I did. So sure enough, we get home, and we see the scoreboard, and we call up the grocery store. And we said, hey, can you recheck these scores? We think she may have won here. So we go in, they get the manager, and they start talking. They go, you know what? You're right. The problem is we already gave away the color TV.
Right, I can imagine.
We have this PlayStation 1 lying around. Do you want that instead?
Like, that's nice. We have a PS1 just hanging out. You want that? Sure, why not?
Yeah,
right?
So we start jumping up and down. Me and my sister, my dad didn't know what it was. He thought it was like a Playscape or something.
Right.
And we're jumping up and down, and we're like, oh my God, will you let us have it? Will you let us have it? And my mom's like, well, you won it in a contest, so it's yours.
That's kind of the rules that she threw out there for you guys, right? So I like how what's funny is that it leads me to a couple different things. Like, I maybe wonder if like first place winner was like one of the coworkers' sons or something, and they're just like, make sure you hide that 30 score. Make sure nobody sees that 30 score. And then the other,
I don't know. It's just weird.
It's just like, right. And then the other thing too is I love how there's just like, well, we got a PS1 just hanging out. You want to take that instead? Just like, that would have been like, it's so funny now because now there's so many rules of like contests. Like now there's like a half a paragraph or like 3 paragraphs of legal mobo jumbo, like, man, you wonder if you will win. The odds of winning this PS1 or this of 2,100, whatever. You know, it's like,
well, now back in the day,
get away with that. Now back in the day, it's like, shit.
If you have the store has something and they want to raffle off something, I mean, that's kind of what it was, right? So they probably just, I don't know why they had one. I mean, grocery stores don't really get a lot of those, so they probably just had a few behind the counter, and nobody would go to a grocery store to buy a PlayStation, so they probably had it sitting there. So,
grocery stores always have weird things like that, don't they?
Do.
Like I go to a grocery
iPods
store.
And stuff.
Yeah, they have iPods. Like there was a grocery store that I go to that would randomly have like printer ink, and I'm like,
yep.
Who the hell comes to a grocery store and buys printer ink? Like, you don't do that.
I don't know. And you have to go to Courtesy. That's how you have to go to Courtesy. It's weird. So, yeah, the joke was it was always hers. So whenever she wanted to get on it, she could get to kick me and my other brother off, and that would be it. So that is how I got into console gaming and video gaming in general. And that PlayStation came with demo discs, which I don't know if your audience knows about those, but
I would hope so. Please God, like I hope my audience isn't so young that they're like, "What are demo discs?" Those are for people born after the year 2000. Those are discs that games used to come on instead of you downloading them from the internet, quote unquote. Like, yeah, dude, demo, like when you didn't, especially like when you didn't have a lot of money, demo disc, depending on the demo disc, that was your lifeline. Like you would play the same damn Tony Hawk stage over and over and over and over just because it was free. You got it with the Pizza Hut. But like I got a demo disc with Pizza Hut and it had Tony Hawk and I think Metal Gear on it, and I was like,
oh nice.
This is like the greatest demo disc ever, and you just play that over and over. Well,
I wish there was more of them because they'd sell you on games a little more. Like it was 2 of them we got. I was a bit young for it. Final Fantasy VII, so I didn't know what the hell was going on with RPGs.
Right.
And then there was a Bushido Blade with that one. The other demo disc had a bunch of more mainstream stuff. It had Crash Bandicoot, Tekken. What else did it have in there? It had a few other weird games. Gran Turismo, one of the earlier ones, was on there. So, of course, you played a ton of that, you know, and that was how it all started, Mitch. So
that's funny. I like how
I'm here with PS4 and way too many games. So.
Right. I like how they had the one disc that had like your kind of hard, like at the time probably hardcore Japanese. You know, like you had Final Fantasy VII, you had Bushido Blade, and then you had the other disc that literally had like a collection of genres. It's just like here's your platformer, here's your fighter, here's your racer. Like had all the different types of games. And yeah, I remember like some of those demo discs were funny because they would have collection sometimes, but then they would also have just a collection of things, and then that one oddball game out of nowhere. You're just like what the hell does NFL Game Day have to be on this demo disc?
They did have an NFL game.
Of course they did. Sony, every of those Sony games, all of them had like some sort of demo disc that came with their own sports games that they used to make.
Well, the weird game that was on there was a game called Blast Chamber. And I've been looking for this game. I can't find it. It's weird. So nobody's heard of this game.
No idea. I'm sure one person maybe listening is like, I know what that guy's talking about. Maybe. I don't know.
It was on. I think it was on Genesis. I'm not sure. Anyways, you're in this cube, and this woman voice would be like, tell you to escape from the cube, and then she'd start counting down, and it was like 10 left. She'd go 10, 9. So it added the pressure, and you would have to like exit the door, but the way to escape from the cube was you would hit certain buttons, and it would rotate the room around in 2D, and then you would escape. And there was like, obstacles, and maybe you had to like fight a low little villain or something like that. I've been looking for that. But yeah, they had some weird stuff on there, man. And but it was cool. I missed demo this, and you played a lot of them, and then you start realizing, oh wait, there's full games out here. Right, how do we get those?
Yeah, well, I mean, again, the good thing, though, is that your demo disc was essentially, in a way, depending on how good the demo disc was, that was almost better than renting a game just because it was yours to keep forever. Yeah. You had the one stage. Now what's funny is they don't really have demos anymore. However, betas are basically demos, people. Congratulations. They're friggin'
Which you have to pay for.
Yeah, well, I mean, it depends.
Some of the betas, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, it depends. So, like, some of them are locked behind, obviously, like, pre-order pay. Yeah, like, oh, you got to pre-order. But, I mean, Amazon, quick pro tip for people, you can pre-order a game on Amazon. They don't charge your card right away. They will send you the code for the pre-order for the beta, and you can literally turn around and 5 seconds later cancel your pre-order, and you got a free beta code. Pro tip for everybody. I never did that allegedly. Again, I've said allegedly lately in a couple episodes. Just don't worry about it. But no, like, just to be clear, like, yeah, now, like, but the thing is now is like demos don't exist as like, they don't advertise them as demos anymore. Now they're just like, they're basically betas. That's all they are. And
which is too bad.
Well, I mean, it's funny. It's just like betas back in the day meant some next level shit. Like betas back in the day, like if you were like, no, I got the beta for that, you were like, oh, dude, how did you get that? Now it's like,
right.
Go pre-order Call of Duty and you get a beta. Have fun. Like now betas are just glorified demos. Like that's what they've evolved into, which it sucks too because most single player games, they don't bother. It's only the multiplayer stuff and it's just for...
That's lame. I know.
And it's also for the companies to test their servers and tweak stuff and blah, 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 blah. You're basically... You're beta testers, which is essentially... game testers just to tell us what's broken, but now it's just so glorified now. Like all these games are just like pre-order now to get the beta, and it's just whatever. And
then it begins all these discussions. Is the game considered released this year? Like PUBG right now is still in beta, so it's like, what does this mean? It's bizarre. It's a weird space we're in right now.
Right. And also too,
a game isn't a game.
Yeah, exactly. My favorite thing, too, though, is that when they say it's a beta, but it comes out in 3 weeks, I'm like, real quick, you guys aren't changing a whole lot in the next 3 weeks. Like, Star Wars Battlefront had its beta, like...
Oh, did it?
Yeah, a couple weeks ago. That game comes out in a month, less than a month, or whatever. That's right. And it's like...
That's right.
There's no beta. Like, you're basically... Like, that's what I was... When I was playing it, I was, like, sitting there thinking, like, do I enjoy this game? Do I like this game? But in my head, I keep saying, well, this is the beta. This isn't the final game. But then I also keep thinking, this game is like a month away. Like, how much better are they going to try to make this game? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. So, I mean, that's the only thing that's like good and bad about betas. Because some people now play the beta and they're like, I don't give a shit about this. Like, I don't want this anymore. So that kind of happened with Star Wars. Not saying it's a bad game, but I played the beta and I was like, that's fun. But I mean, I'm going to have a ton of other shit to play. So it's like, do I care to actually go buy this now right away? Or do I just wait or whatever? But... that's all right. So your actual first console, PS1, it was your sister's though, so she kicked you off all the time. Did you guys actually?
Not really.
Oh, not really. But when I bet when you pissed her off, she was just basically like, "Hey, guess what? I want to play something now. Get off it."
Well, a quick side story about that. Before I know you're about to ask a question, but it was really funny. Back when we had games and stuff like that, my brother was like, "Hey, My sister came to me and she's like, hey, Austin, which is the easiest Crash Bandicoot to play? And I say Crash 2. You can beat it. So my brother never beat Crash 2 at this point. I've done it a few times. And I said, okay. So he's like, he overheard this, and he starts putting Crash 2 in the thing because he's got to beat it before her, because if she beats it before him, she's better at Crash 2 than him.
Of course, that's another thing she can hang over his head.
So she goes upstairs, says, I want the PlayStation. My mom comes down. Paul, get off the PlayStation. It's Andrea. And for a full week, I sat there and coached her on how to play and beat Crash 2. Well, my brother's all upset. And as the easiest final boss, it was a breeze. She got through it in a week, and it was great. And then immediately my brother gets down there and starts playing Crash as soon as she beat it. But yeah, whenever she wanted it, she got it.
I was going to say, I'm surprised your mom wasn't like, okay, you've played it for a week now. Why don't you give your brother like an hour? But again, if she wanted the contest.
She probably playing that week was probably less than my brother would play in his week. Easy.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
She was just, he played it a ton. She played it here and there whenever she saw something cool. I think we got Crash Team Racing. She saw me playing it on Christmas. She's like, can I play with you? I'm like, yeah, come on over and we played some Crash together.
Yeah, that was going to actually be my next question. So did you guys play a lot of games together then? Do you remember any specific games you guys played co-op or against each other or anything?
Crash Team Racing was one we played a lot together, and we sort of would make up our own odds. So we would draft certain racers, and we'd like come up with odds and make bets with fake money and Monopoly money. Yeah, we would.
Was there a value for the Monopoly money outside Monopoly?
Well, it wasn't real. We would just write down. It's like, how much you putting on Dingo Dial here. I'm going to put $5, he'll win. And then we'd take turns. So we played it in a weird way. Then, of course, you'd have friends over, and it was the switch the controller around until you die.
Right.
We would play MLB, Major League Baseball, because we grew up big baseball fans, so we'd play a lot of that together. But for the most part, we like playing single-player experiences. So, and my sister would watch, and like she'd think certain stuff is cool, and would watch. So, yeah,
that's always fun too. Yeah, because I mean, with the single-player stuff, like again, you could pass the controller back and forth depending on the situation, but then also too, some people just like to hang out and watch, which eventually is why Twitch is a thing. So now you can just do that.
Yeah, it's weird.
Your home, you can just be like, I don't want to play this. I'll just watch some dude play it. So, which again, like the whole like allure of watching somebody play it, I personally don't have. Like, I don't either. Like a random dude playing a game, I'm like, nah, I'm good. Watching like game tournaments and stuff, like, some people are into like the Invitational or, like all those different types of like huge game tournaments, which I'm like, okay, I guess. Like I'll watch, but I mean, certain games, seeing like pro level players play certain games. Like I was watching a CSGO tournament, and I don't play CSGO. I'm not saying it's a bad game. I don't play it. But
it's not for you.
Right, but like watching high level people play it in a tournament setting is like, holy shit, dude, these guys are really good. But also discourages me from playing it, so it's all right. Like I watch it and I go, yeah, I'm not going to get my ass kicked by those guys. I'll just I'll watch people play.
That's what deterred me from a lot of multiplayer games, to be honest, because I'm not going to go play Tekken 7 and fight. I'm button mashing. I don't know what I'm doing. I think I would like to learn, but at a certain point, it's like the barrier of entry is so high so quickly. So if you're not on there within the first week, I mean, you suck. No point in playing, and that's kind of what's discouraged me from a lot of those. Not to say I'm not bad at good or bad at games, but it's like I can understand that, but I do appreciate that. I think it's pretty cool what they do. All these multiplayer games, watching people doing Overwatch and all this stuff. It's pretty neat. It's pretty cool that these people have made careers out of this. That's really great, Right.
Yeah, the fighting game side of it is, I think, the most demoralizing one. Just because, like, the shooter side of stuff. Well, like, the shooters, like, I was watching, actually, Halo 5 Championship stuff today, and I was like, damn, that's cool. I've pulled some of those things off. But then, like, yeah, nothing will make you feel like this tall, and I'm like an inch tall, then going online thinking you're good at fighting games and then getting your ass stomped in for 2 hours and just realizing you're not even the 2000th best person in this entire world. Like, fighting games are just on another level, and that's also why I kind of don't play them. Like, fighting games, playing them by yourself, like just the story or the campaign or whatever you want to call it, it's okay, but I just find it like it gets boring at times. But then when you get to, if you know people that play with you, it's a lot better. Like you and your buddies or whatever playing certain games. But then when you go online, unless you are next level, like you're gonna just not have a fun time. Like it's just not fun.
Yeah. We went through a big Tekken 4 thing in college at one point for like a semester, and because I'm not very good at fighting games, I'd play as Christy, which is the Eddie Gordo of Tekken 4.
Right.
So you just hit XO a bunch of times and whatever. And then people Yeah, exactly. Spin, boom, 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 and it was fine. I would like to learn what I'm doing because one guy was like, a friend of mine who we were playing at the time. He's like, so I sat down and got in the tutorial or the whatever
training,
you call it,
like that training.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I learned to punch down with Brian, and I'm like, oh man. So I mean, that's one of my things. I've been I don't know if I told you this, but I've been like amassing games for the past few years, been kind of into that and stuff like that. And that's something I do want to get good at some point, but because I played some of these story modes and they're fun and they're really dumb, but...
Oh, they're really bad. Like the story modes are not good.
Right.
Except for apparently Injustice. Injustice story is actually apparently pretty good. Again, it's a fighting game. I don't give it a chance, but shout out to Injustice, apparently.
I want to play it like without them coddling me and making it easier as you play, and that's just like I want to learn. So I'll get to it at a certain point. I do want to go through all the Tekkens at one point. And get through that.
Yeah, like Tekken. Fun. I remember the only game, and again, it was more demo disc because I never bought a full Tekken game. But I remember, I think it was like Tekken 3 or 4. I remember playing quite a bit and everything just on a demo disc. The one fighter I will say that I tried to get into, and it had an amazing tutorial, was Killer Instinct on Xbox One. Because it was like, again, at launch, I was like, what am I going to play? I'll buy Killer Instinct, I'll buy Dead Rising, Assassin's Creed, and that was kind of like, it was only $20, I think, if I remember, it was like $20, and I was like, sure, I'll play this. And I remember playing the tutorial, and it was teaching you, like, everything. It was teaching you
how to juggle, how to do this,
how to do this, how to block this, how to counter this, like, so in depth, and I was like, wow, this is really cool. And then again, I go online, play, and get stomped out, and I'm like, all right, yeah, I remember why I don't really buy these. But again, that was kind of a moment where I was just like, I don't really have much to play, so I guess I'll get this. And that's what always happens when on console.
To me, that's always kind of the fun thing, because now I'm on a kick where I've gone back and I'm looking at, now that I have some money, and well, not a ton of money, but now I have money that I can use. I can go back and play some of these old PS1 games and try something I never even knew existed or never even thought, and that's like really fun, especially when a console has its first iteration, because they'll try anything. I think the Xbox original has the most fascinating library because it had a bunch of stuff.
It was all over the place, because I mean, I think at that time Microsoft was just like, we're kind of new, like, make whatever game you guys want to do, just figure it out.
Let's make Voodoo Vince and Blinks and let's make, like, where are these guys? It's weird. And the PlayStation has a lot of weird stuff like that too, because they're, urging people to, like, here we have a big variety of stuff. So that's kind of what I've been trying to do, because it's like there's a soft spot for it. The PS1 is very diverse, And of course, I was too young to play some of the RPGs that the system's known for. I finally played Legend of Dragoon last year, and I was like, this is great.
That's definitely that's definitely a game I haven't heard in a while and everything. But yeah, like that's it sucks because, like, when a console's new, but also, like you just said, PlayStation did the same thing. When a console's new, they want to just kind of throw things at the wall and see what sticks. They're just like, let's see what happens. And I mean, you say Blinks, and Marty Sleeve's ears just like perked up and everything. He's in San Francisco, like, someone just mentioned Blinks. Like those games, and then Voodoo Vince. I mean, and they try to revive some of them, but then some of them I wish wouldn't get revived. Like, there's a new Busby game coming out, and I'm like,
I don't know who asked for that one.
No one did. Did.
I saw that.
Hipsters did.
And I'm trying to think. It's like, are they doing this because they know other time to do it? Because YouTube has made fun of Bubsy ridiculous. Like, everybody's seen Bubsy 3D. The other two games aren't very good either.
Right.
So I guess let's do it now. I don't. To be honest, I don't think it's going to be that bad. But why play it?
I think what's going on is that there's a lot of older games that are coming back. So people think, like, in their head, what do they want? Obviously SNES Classic, NES Classic, those blew up. The problem is those are all really good games. Like, they're all really good established franchises that are all, like, they're good. And then you get, like, the Disney Afternoon collection or whatever that they had that came out that had all of those games. You get, certain games that are just remade through Kickstarter and stuff. Like, they try to do Mighty Number 9, like, Mega Man-esque style game, which... apparently
I played that last year.
Yeah, apparently that didn't work out well.
I beat it.
But was it Mega Man? Like everybody hoped it was?
Here's the weird thing. I did not grow up playing a lot of Mega Man, so I had no connection to the source material or nostalgia.
Right.
And I'll tell you this. Almost put it down after the first level because it crashed on me twice during the first level.
Right.
And then it's one of the later levels is extremely boring. It's not as bad as everybody makes it out to be, but people say it's lifeless, and it really is because there's no love put into it. There's this ominous music that continues to play on loop. The character animations are god awful, and it doesn't run very well. I bought it on sale months after it's released, and it's still crashing in the first level. So I almost put it down after this. If it crashes again, I'm done.
Yeah, that's what happened.
And then I played it and beat it.
That's happened to me. That's happened to me before with games where if they just get buggy and weird and stuff. But I think the problem is I think that there's a certain group of people out there who think nostalgia will make people want to be interested in games. You know what I mean? Certain games, obviously with SNES and NES Classic coming out, those were all beloved games that people enjoyed that made them want it. So now I don't know if people are on this kick where they're just all these old franchises, let's bring them back. And I mean, obviously certain games though have success, the Crash trilogy came out, and
I was hoping we're going to talk about that, my friend.
It came to, I think it was in the UK charts, number 1 for weeks. Yep. They sold the shit out of that game, and I don't think anyone expected it to sell that well. People were probably this will do decent, and then no, it's number 1 for almost a month straight, and people were like, dude, where the hell did this come from? And I think that's the only problem is now people are probably thinking, oh, Busby's gonna, that's gonna be the same thing, and I'm like, no, I don't think anybody's asking for that one, guys. Maybe you should do some other franchise that people want.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned Crash because that was really why I love games a lot. Crash Bandicoot is my favorite franchise ever. I always sit there and hear this, I'm friends with, not friends, but I'm familiar with Double D Doherty and stuff like that. You follow up with Kind of Funny and Tim Geddes and all that stuff.
I was going to say Tim Geddes.
Not even close.
We'll be glad to hear this if he listens, which I don't think he does, but go on.
If he listens to this thing, with all due respect to Tim, I like Tim. I have a lot of similar tastes with Tim. And we have some weird mutual friends, believe it or not. But I am the biggest Crash Bandicoot fan I know. Easily. You
should just challenge Tim to. As soon as you said Crash Team Racing, Tim came into my head. I was like, because again, now it's I associate Crash with him just because of how much he talked about it and how he lost his complete mind when they announced it at E3.
I did too.
That's still one of the funniest videos I've seen where he just shut the fuck up. He just hyperventilated, he freaked out. So
there's a lot I want to talk about with that game because I had a buddy over. We'd sit down and say, hey, let's watch E3 together. And right before E3, we get this pizza and wings and all this other stuff. We're going to watch this thing. And I said, all right, so what's coming? It's all right, of course, let's see if Crash is going to come back and for the PlayStation conference. And my buddy goes, I will eat my own shit if Crash Bandicoot, this new Crash Bandicoot comes out.
That's poor choice of words. Poor choice.
And then all of a sudden, Sean Layden's walking across the screen, and then the music plays, and I was like, what?
Oh my god!
And then of course I see the Skylanders. I'm like, oh no, which I bought, but anyway. And then
I said, oh no, but I got it because it's Crash. But oh no,
yeah. And then he said, yeah, we're bringing them back. And it's funny. And I've 100% of those games dozens of times because back when you're a kid, you play and replay. And we've talked about this. And you've talked about this with the other guys on the show. You play the same games and you get good at them. And I didn't realize how good I was at it until the trilogy came out. Not everybody, but a lot of people were like, these games are great, but I'm not good at these. And
right.
I was like, I got the Platinums pretty easily. It's easier than the original. So,
yeah.
I grew up playing
about that. I remember some people complaining that it was harder than they remember, but also too, to be honest,
it's easier.
Yeah. Well, I mean, again, it depends on the game too, because some people you go back and you're either a stupid kid and don't realize how to play the game. For example, certain games. You go back to them and you realize this is easier, but also it's just because you're older and you understand things better. But then sometimes you go back in games and they're just harder. And you're just like, am I stupid? Am I not able to play this anymore? Do I not have the reflexes anymore? Same thing with Colin Moriarty in Mega Man. He blasts through Mega Man and I play it and I feel I'm like, I suck. I can't play this game. I'm not good at this game. So everybody has their own game that they grew up on that does.
That's kind of what it was for me. Right. I'd be the Colin Moriarty to Mega Man is Austin Daniels to Crash Bandicoot.
There you go, right? Exactly.
Easily play that, and I know the levels inside and out. I don't know, probably because at a certain time you would practice that game you would just practice and get good. And you wanted to see what was next, and the internet was not there to show you the cutscene, and you had to beat the game to reward yourself with all of that. It also opened the door for figuring out secrets, because there was plenty of times going, how the hell did I miss 17 boxes?
Right.
And then I would see like a little lump of fruit on the side. I'm like, you know what? I've beaten this game 9 times. What if I just walked over there? And then a trail starts opening up. And I was like, oh, I'm getting this. Or one of the clever things was a bunch of nitro boxes in stairs in Crash 2. But they're not popping up around. And I'm like, why would they put that there? Right. I'm not going to walk up a stair of nitro cases. So I said, I'm going to do it. Warp me to a different area. And it's like that opened the door. And I grew up playing a ton of Crash, played Spyro, 100% of those. I loved 3D platformers. I know they're like people don't like them as much, but I absolutely love it. And to have it come full circle this year has been mind-blowing for me. So that was kind of my PS1 days up until PS2 came out somewhere.
Yeah, I was just about to say, did you kind of continue that trend and everything? And by the way, real fast, mascot platformers, they were the shit back in PS1 days. Yeah. Everybody talking shit back then, or like if you talk shit now, you didn't grow up that like they were Crash, Spyro, Mario, like just they were so good. And then obviously there was fatigue because there was a ton of them. But now you got some decent ones that are coming back and stuff. Like that Super Lucky's Tale that's coming out on Xbox One looks like a full-on old-school 3D platformer. And again, like obviously people clamor to those types of games again now because of Crash selling so well. Hopefully people will see that. And of course, everybody and their mother was like, do a Spyro one now. Because now everybody just wants a Spyro one because of how well Crash did.
I'm about 90% that's going to happen. Yeah, I don't see why you wouldn't do it.
Yeah, you pretty much might as well do it. Because, I mean, why wouldn't you, right? Like, you got, like, just... I wonder, the only thing is, like, they did do a lot of work to the trilogy, though. Like, they did redo everything, basically. Like, they did a good job with it. So, I mean, as long as they put... I wonder how much, like, something like that costs compared to, like, just doing, like, an HD remaster. I'm sure it costs more. But, again, as long as... I don't think Sony would care as long as it makes some money. So, they'll be like, yeah, I don't care. Just do that.
They did. They treated Crash. I was blown away by how much respect Crash Bandicoot had treated, especially up until like 2008 when he's jumping on Titans, punching people. I'm like, I don't know what this is.
That's where the PS2 crashes started happening. Like those were the PS2. Like the crashes started getting. That was where they kind of I think started falling off. Like just PS2 era and everything. It's like when they just started getting they started getting bad. Like again, except for Mario Sunshine. Awesome game. Otherwise, like the Spyro.
I haven't popped it in yet. I have so many games I've just sitting there. But I like, it looks cool. That Hat in Time seems inspired by that. People seem to like that. So there's lots for me to get into now. It's crazy.
Right.
But yeah, with PS2, if you want to talk about that, and we can talk a little about Crash Evolution there. So the PS2 story was interesting because toward the end. PS2 came out. Remember that sold out like crazy? People were punching each other at Walmarts for these.
Yeah, fist fight in the parking lots. Yeah.
So I'm seeing this thing, and you're probably seeing this thing too, and going, "Wow, these graphics, man! This is good." Because it cleaned up a lot of polygonal looking things, right? It looks smoother. So that year, our PlayStation 1 broke around August.
Oh no.
Yeah, and for some reason. Me, my brother, and sister were well behaved about it. We were not like all upset. We tried fixing it, turning it upside down, hit the button. We tried everything. It was dead. So that year, Christmas rolls around, and the last gift we opened was the PlayStation 2. And I, of course, was like, why did we,
Right.
And my dad goes, well, since you kids weren't, brats about it, we decided to get you a PS2, and we know that it works with the PS1 games you already have, so we'll get that. And then they said, so we went down, we're plugging it in. He's like, oh, Austin, you forgot a gift upstairs, and that was Crash Wrath of Cortex.
Nice.
Right under the tree. And I played that, and we popped it in, and my dad's helping me set this up. And the first thing I go, the graphics, and my dad's making fun of me, and I played through that. And yeah, the PS2 was great. I took that to college. I played a ton of that PS2. To go through the Crash games on that one, because I'm sure we want to talk about that. Wrath of Cortex was like kind of this game people don't like. It's fine. It's just Crash 3 again. It's the same thing. And then they made a great game that's really fun, which I wish they finished, was Crash Twinsanity. You ever heard of that game?
Right, yeah.
Where Cortex and Crash team up, and that was pretty cool because they did a semi-open world type thing. It was basically all linear levels, but the way they constructed it, it felt good, so it's pretty cool.
What's funny is as soon as Grand Theft Auto came out, everybody tried to do open world. It didn't matter what the franchise was or what the genre was. They were just like, what? Everybody likes running around in a big open world. Shit. Hey, open world, add it to it. Like, everybody did that.
What's funny about that is I couldn't get that because my mom didn't like that very much. She's like, no. Reading all the headlines, we're not playing that.
I'm just talking about, like, just the gameplay mechanic itself. Just like the fact
you're right. Changed the whole world.
Yeah, if one thing comes out that people like, it changes everything. Like, it happened with Grand Theft Auto with the open world stuff. It happened with Call of Duty and how good their multiplayer was, how everybody wanted to just copy the kill streaks and mimic that. It's happening now with Destiny, like when Destiny came out, now The Division and blah, blah, like all these games, like one thing happens and it catches on and then everybody else just tries to make that happen.
Which is sad because I feel like when you do that, there is a fan base out there that will buy games of that because, as we said, that's what kind of killed off, not that directly, but a lot of people, killed off the 3D platformer because somebody thought they were lame at some point.
Right.
Or what happened with Visceral this past
that's
week
really
or so.
Crappy.
I don't know. It's sad. It's
really
are you kidding me?
Because they want Destiny, Star Wars. That's what they want. They don't want they want a game that makes money, and it sucks because I was like that was in my head as I was saying that. Like now it's just games getting canceled because they're not X, Y, or Z sucks. And that really sucks. And I wish they wouldn't have just said, oh, by the way, the studio's gone. And who knows how good that game would have been and all that. Because, I
think it would have been amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, if Amy Hennig's in charge of it, it's a single-player experience. If it's 10 hours, great. Sign me up. Let's play Star Wars, Played Lost Legacy this year? Great. I love all the Uncharted games. It's great. They do a great job. So I don't understand.
But they don't sell 10 million copies and people don't spend $800 in loot crates and boxes on it. That's why.
That could be it. I mean, I don't know.
It sucks, but
I don't know.
Again,
that's the discussion.
I am all for single-player games. I'm 100% down for them. I think there's definitely a market of people that still want that and don't give a shit about online or Destiny or any of those types of games or multiplayer of any kind. But
and that's me.
Right, yeah. I mean, I have a mix of both. I'll latch on to certain games,
sure.
but I just beat Shadow of War today, and I played the fuck.
Man, that was very quick. Would that come out Tuesday? Am I wrong?
That
didn't come out too long ago.
Not this Tuesday, the Tuesday before. No,
Tuesday before.
I put 20, no, not 20, 50 or 60 hours in it. So yeah, again, that's all I wanted to do. I was again, I'm obsessed. But that also, the thing that sucks too is that's happened now too. You get those open world games where you have towers and you have skill trees, and now it's maybe there's fatigue on that. Assassin's Creed came out every friggin' year until everybody was like, I'm done. I don't want to play this anymore. I don't want this type of game anymore. And they had to stop and take a year off, which now it looks amazing again.
Well, part of it for me is because I like to complete something. And then I'll go into a game and I'll be like, am I going to 100% this? Am I not going to, etc. But if you have the online game loop, which I know people love so much, is it over? You know what I'm saying? So... it's something I like to complete, like to have an ending to. So that's what the multiplayer games don't offer me. But what's interesting when you were talking about was with what was it? Grand Theft Auto,
right?
In how it changed the world and stuff like that, and that actually impacted a very important PS2 game that I grew up playing at a certain point was the Jak and Daxter series.
Right.
Did you play Jak and Daxter?
I have, and that was kind of what they evolved into. Instead of Crash, and then it just went to Jak and Daxter, and then Ratchet and Clank. And it's funny because Sony seemed to require two 3D platformer like PS1 had Crash and Spyro, PS2 had Jak and Daxter and Ratchet and Clank.
Yep.
It seemed to just evolve into that.
And then they brought up Sly Cooper, which is a fantastic series as well. I didn't play that till later. Fantastic. Going back, I've played them all as an adult, and I have to give it to Sly Cooper. I fan-based Jak and Daxter because I was champion in Yachty Dog at the time. And I just played a little bit of the originals of Ratchet and Clank on the PS3, and I was like, these are way better. But the problem with Jak is that the first game came out, and that was as open as you get, and it was touted as the game with no loading screens. You can go anywhere you want, any order you want. It was like a big ass Banjo-Kazooie.
Right.
And it's great. It's incredibly easy. I think I 100%ed it in 2 days one time because my save file got eaten up. Ooh, that brings up an interesting story, actually. And then I guess apparently when they were testing Jak 2, they wanted to do more of that. But, of course, I guess somebody sat down and they were play testing some early designs of it, and they said, oh, yeah, my little brother would like this game. And the kid's like 8. And so they changed it to this, gritty guns, Grand Theft Auto-y type game,
right.
Which I thought was cool at the time because I was like, my parents will let me play this, and then I played it, and then
like
now
that,
I'm like,
it's like that middle ground between like family-friendly 3D platformer and super violent, ultra dark, gritty game.
And that's what it was just puzzling to me. I don't know. I look at it now and I'm like, this has lost its identity. And then when they canceled Jak 4, I was like, good. We don't need this. So yeah, I played a lot of that. I'm trying to think of other games I played in the PS2. Then of course I was playing the Crash Bandicoots, getting worse and worse and stuff like that.
Was that breaking your heart each time a new game came out and it was just getting worse and worse? Where you're just like, oh, why do you do this?
Well, this is when the internet started. You can see stuff ahead of time. So I'm on some site, and I'm saying, here's the new Crash Bandicoot redesigns with tattoos, and here's, like, the masks, and here's what everybody looks like. I was like, what did they do? Like, what did they do? And it's this weird brawler. I was like, this is terrible. But I played it, and 100% in Crash of the Titans twice.
Jeez.
For some reason. But it was wild. Like, right before that, I was playing, because they had Crash Tag Team Racing, which is one of the worst racing games. It's so boring. And it sucks. They totally destroyed that series at that point, and that's why it's so nice to see it come back.
Right. Do you think they'll actually make a new one, like a new one, in that vein?
In Crash, well, there's a lot they can do. If CTR comes out for PlayStation 4, I'm on it tomorrow. I'll be playing that online, which I think they will do as well. And I think they should. I mean, did you get a chance to dabble in the Insane Trilogy a little bit? Or
I
no?
haven't yet. No, like that was one of those games. Like I get to a point where I buy so many games at once. I have a backlog. So then I just kind of don't buy shit for months, and I just blast through like whatever I've already bought and just go through.
Oh, nice.
And then usually I'll wait for like if a game comes out anytime between like May and August. I'll wait for Black Friday because it'll probably be $15 or $20 by then, and then I'll pick it up.
Good idea.
Like that's what I'm doing for Uncharted. Like I played Uncharted 4 day one, liked it, awesome game, great game. Mm-hmm. Lost Legacy came out, and I was like, that's cool, but I got other shit to do. I'll hold off on that, and I guarantee you, somebody.
It's already 30 now.
Yeah, exactly. So like Black Friday time, it'll be $15 or $20, and then I'll pick it up, and that'll be my next game next year. And
you're gonna enjoy it, man.
Yeah, there's only certain games like. Only very few games that I actually will get so pumped up for that I'm like, I have to have a day one, and like Shadow of War was one of those. I literally told myself, I want to beat this game and have it done by Mario, and I did. So,
and there you go. Because Odyssey's out
Friday,
Tuesday, Friday. Okay, Friday's the Nintendo days. Okay, very good.
Oh no, Friday is Hell Day. Friday.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Mario Assassin. Well, hon, October 27th for people not listening.
Right.
We're recording this the Sunday before. Mario, Wolfenstein, Assassin's Creed, that Jigsaw movie that people are like freaking out about comes out that same day. Stranger Things 2 comes out on Netflix.
That was the one I was going to mention. So it's like, I'm ready for that.
I hope you enjoy one of those thoroughly, because you ain't going to have time to do all of them at the same time. Like and again, on days like that, I go one game, that's it. And then I'll pick up the rest later when they're on sale. And anybody, and if you have a Switch, and if you don't say Mario, please people, go buy Mario. That's good though,
because that's kind of how I do it too. It's like, I'm going to beat this game. Some people are like, why have you beaten? Like, I haven't beaten Horizon yet. I haven't even started it yet. I have it. It's ready to go. But I have thousands of stuff that I'm like, okay, let me get through it. You got
to get to a point where you just stop. Just stop buying shit. Just stop. Play what you got.
Can't.
Stop.
I know.
Cut the cord.
Here's one thing. I didn't buy South Park. I'm going to, but I'm going to wait.
Me too.
I'm going to wait for the whole thing complete. Yeah.
Yep. I see it for me.
So the PS2, that was an interesting story too. So right around, let's see, so Jak and Daxter ends on this game called Jak X Combat Racing.
Right.
It's bad. It's not a good game.
Yeah, it's not good.
And it's not good. Well, what they do is they'll recycle the tracks, weirdly enough. So you'll like race one part of the track, and then all of a sudden it'll be another part from a different track, and that's a new track. I'm like, no, you just the same. It's like, I don't know, Hot Wheels and reconnected them, and you're like, out in the track.
Right.
Jack X comes out, and at this point, what was it? So I go to buy. Was this the PS3 story? Oh, that's right. That's right. The PS3 story. So I'm trying to think of the PS3 stuff. So I get you got a PS3, right? Did you get that right away and $600?
No,
$600 US.
No. I heard that and went, no, I'm good. And no, I ended up eventually getting one, but just not.
Did you get the Slim or something?
No, I actually bought. My father-in-law had a PS3 almost right away. His broke. And then he was like going to get it sent out for repairs because he had the PS3 that had he had the PS3 that had the backward compatibility. And instead of waiting for it to get repaired, my brother-in-law was coming into town. He's like, whatever, I'm just going to go buy a slim one. So he went and bought a slim one, eventually got the fat one fixed. And then I was like, I'll buy that one from you because it was backward compatible with all of them. And I was like, yeah, I want that. So I bought it eventually, but like I got it.
Nice.
More when like Little Big Planet was released, which was like probably 2 years later or something like that.
Okay. Yep. I got the PS3 a year after it launched for the $600 US.
Jesus Christ.
And the 60 gig backwards compatible, which is the most desirable one.
Right. That's the exact one I have.
Yeah. It's awesome. I think you can do 80 if you download a patch that you can't download anymore or something like that. I don't know. So I got that. The games I got for it, I don't think I've touched since. What was it? It was, so I told my dad, it's like, here, go out and get these games. Here's the money. Get that. Get NBA Street Home Court.
Which was not a good one.
Nope. No, it's not.
Nope. Street 2 was on PS2 and stuff. Like NBA Street back in the PS2 days were
That's
good.
the one I skipped on, though. I'm trying to look for it. I played a lot of the first one, a lot of the third one. I really like the third one. Yeah, but I hear the second one's great, too.
Yeah, like those were good on PS2, and then when they went to PS3, it was like, no, this ain't good at all.
That was another one we'd play at other people's houses, pop in your memory card, and who'd you unlock? I got the Yeti or the Alien. And then Home Court was terrible. Right. So then I had Project 8 from Tony Hawk. That blasted me for not that long. And then I don't know what I was playing. Not much after that. And then I was like, all right, I'm going to play some of my PS2 games. And so I had Jak X Combat Racing. So I'm going to pop this in. Corrupted files, things don't work. I'm like, what's happening? Try it again. So I was like, I don't know what's going on. So I go to the Best Buy, return it, buy it, get another one. They exchange it.
Are you talking about the system or are you talking about the game?
The whole system.
Okay.
So I go back there, get a new console, try it again. Not working again. I'm like, what is going on here? Third PS3. Not working again. I could not figure out for the life of me why Jak X was not working on this PlayStation 3 correctly. It would stop. It was weird. Put it on the PS2, it was fine. I didn't understand it. So apparently, I looked at this, and you can find this in forums. There is a select number of games on the PlayStation 2 that only work with the fat PS2 because when they switched to the codexing of the slim PS2, a few games got mixed, and one of them was Jak X Combat Racing.
Wow.
Not a lot of people know about that.
Yeah, I didn't know about that.
Another one was Ty the Tasmanian Tiger 3. It was weird.
Third.
Yeah, and then other stupid stuff
platformers.
Like Big Mother Truckers and something weird like that. I don't know.
That was a game title.
So it was weird. It was very, very weird. So I had to do myself a public service and find out. And luckily, I figured it out. It's like, all right, I'm not going to play Jak X on this, and had a PS3 for a while. So.
Gotcha. Well, I mean, again, at least you figured it out eventually, because I'm sure whoever you went to keep swapping them out was probably getting pissed. Like, why is this dude here again with another damn system problem again? Like, they had to think it was you after a certain point. They had to think it was you.
Yeah, they did. Well, the thing is, now looking back, is like, I don't know how you can take a tentpole developer like Naughty Dog and say it's not going to work on the modern system. Like, that's bizarre to me. That's bizarre.
Right.
But yeah, and then PS3 came along, and then because I've been a Naughty Dog loyalist my whole life, and then I said, all right, Uncharted's new and different, something I've never played, and I bought Uncharted 1 shortly after it came out. Did you play that right when it came out, or?
No, I didn't play any of the Uncharteds actually until after the collection came out. I'm more Xbox than I am PlayStation, but it got to a point where, like I missed a bunch of exclusives by the time I got the system, and I was just like, I wanted to play 1, to play 2, to play 3, and then I got to a point where I just didn't play any of them, and then when the collection came out, I was like, fuck this, I'm just going to do the collection, and
That's a great idea.
So that's how
There's a few I wish I did that. I did that with Ratchet and Clank a little bit. I played the first, from whatever, when they did those HD reses and stuff like that.
Right.
And the other one that you mentioned was, for PS3, was Little Big Planet.
Right.
That game, I love that game. You seem to be a fan of that game as well, or did you play a lot of that, or whatever?
Yeah, I mean, I played a lot of it together with my father-in-law and stuff. Like, we played a lot of it.
Oh,
it
nice.
was a game my wife played, my kids would play. But then
nice.
1 and 2 was fun. 3 not.
Yep.
3's
terrible.
3's terrible. It's really bad. Seems like established franchises, when they go to a next-gen console, I don't know why, but they all of a sudden go to shit. Crash 1, 2, 3, Team Racing, awesome. Go to PS2, it's garbage. Look at Jack, not Jack, because I don't think they had a PS3 Jack, but like Ratchet. A lot of people like the other Ratchets first before the PS3 versions. And then now it's like, it just seems like when you jump that next generation, they just don't get good. Like, yeah, Little Big Planet 3, I saw, it's like, oh, that's cool. And I remember playing it, and I'm just like, dude, what did they do? Like, this is not good. Like, this is not a fun game.
What pissed me off, because I'm nuts, what pissed me off is I was like, I'm going to unlock every single item in 1 and 2, because that means, what that means? Beating everything in one life. Right. And getting all the items in the level. I'm going to go do that for some reason. And then I had a PS3 break in the middle of this at some point, so I had to redo it again because I got yellow lighted.
Right.
So the PS4 version of Little Big Planet 3 will not recognize your downloadable content 100%. You have to replay them to get all those items. And I was like, F this.
Right.
And not to mention that's what happens. It was a different studio, right? Big Sumo did that one.
Right.
As opposed to the folks at Media Molecule with Dreams that's never coming out.
Never.
But the other one that I was really clung to for the PS3 was one of the few multiplayer games I liked was Mod Nation Racers. Absolutely was obsessed with that game.
Really good game. Terribly long load times.
You're absolutely right.
Go make a goddamn sandwich and then come back and maybe it'll be done. It was the worst load times ever. Fantastic game. Just couldn't play it. It was unplayable. Like, fuck, I gotta go. Okay, let's go. Literally 10-minute load times at times. It was just the worst.
You had to wait for X amount of people to be in there to race. I think I got to level 28. I don't know. But that was excellent because it was intuitive. It was so easy to create really cool courses and really cool mods and
it was
carts
awesome.
and stuff like.
Just you got to fix those load times because people can't run away for that shit.
I hear you. I'm looking at my PS3 collection now. There's quite a bit there. And that drove me through a while because I didn't buy the PS4 upon release. I bought that right before Uncharted 4.
That's what I was going to say next. So then you just kind of continued on PlayStation route and everything, just kind of kept going that route?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I've been a weird Sony fanboy, I guess, whatever, or loyalist because I really like their first-party content. I like that they're unique. I like that they embrace Japanese RPGs. Like the big one was, for me, it was Ni no Kuni on the PS3 I played. I thought that was brilliant. It's so good. I waffle back and forth if Uncharted 2 or Ni no Kuni is my favorite game on the PS3, and I might have to give it to Ni no Kuni. It's so perfect. I can't even tell you. But in between all that, I grew up with a lot of Sony stuff. So I left the fact that when the PS3 came out, they were backwards compatible, and I'm like, I'm just going to keep going.
Right.
And the PS3 store is pretty cool because I'll download PS1 games I missed. It's great. And the other one I remember because I was playing games I missed when I was waiting for my PS4 to drop in price, and that was Catherine. That was another one. I was like, this is some outrageous stuff they're putting on here.
Heard it was good. Never played it. Never because it wasn't bad. Just Heard it was cool. Just didn't get a chance to play.
Did you check out Ni no Kuni or?
No, like that's next level stuff that I'm just like not as into, or I feel like I don't know if I can put the time in that requires it. Like I said, I'm more into games that are like, not saying Japanese RPGs aren't good, because I mean I'll still play them, but also like if a game's too big, I don't want to play it. So I'm all like, let me stick to games that are kind of that single player, shorter time ish and everything. Granted, I just completely. I'm a hypocrite because I just said I played 60 hours of Shadow War. But, yeah, I mean, like most of the time I like to play games that are more like 10, 15 hours. If it's even less, it's good just because I want to feel like I accomplished something. A lot of the smaller games like Inside, like the smaller games that I can start, beat 6, 7 hours is cool. I do have those games though that I do latch onto and go nuts on. But for the most part, I prefer like just trying to get through as many games as possible instead of just sticking with one all the time. Then my friend Jared is probably saying, well, you played Halo 5 with me for 3,000 hours or something stupid. So yeah, I mean, there's games that I'm into, and that's what I was going to like kind of lead into. So now what you're doing, like, what are you playing now? Like, are you still into the 3D platformers? Like when those come out, are you all psyched about those? Obviously you were with Crash, but what are your gaming habits like today?
Oh boy! So here's a weird thing I do, Mitch. I do buy games and I try to stay current with certain stuff, but I don't like being beholden to play something so I can have the conversation. A few games will put me on hold to do that. Crash was one of them. Obviously, I buy like GameStop was like, here you go, let's go over, and I beat those. And I spent a week. I spent 2 days just playing Crash 3 one time. I played Yooka-Laylee this year, and I liked it. A lot of people hated on it, and I thought it was a good game. So I'm sorry some other people didn't like it, but I thought it was good. And then what I do is I'll go back and try to prepare for other things, because as you said, I still have games in the cellophane, man. They're just sitting there. And the current game I'm playing right now. Yeah, I know.
Stop buying them. Just play what you got. Stop buying.
You have no idea. Guess what game I just started? I'm about over 100 hours in right now. You're going to be like, are you kidding me? Guess.
I'm going to say Metal Gear.
What do you think?
I'm going to say Metal Gear. No?
Pokemon X.
Jesus Christ.
Pokemon
that game
X.
Came out how long ago? Like, was it 3 years ago? I think it was 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah. I love Pokemon. I'm like, man, I have Pokemon X. It's like I have Pokemon Ultra Sun. I to get ready for. I'm not getting to that in time. I haven't played Pokemon Sun. Haven't played the remakes, Omega Ruby. Let's play Pokemon. So that's what I'll do. It's like sometimes I'll just go through a chain. I'm like, oh, I missed this series, and I'll play that. And then just depending on what I do, like if I'm traveling, maybe I'll play I got that new Nintendo 2DS. I really like it. I think that's great. So yeah, I'm playing Pokemon X right now. I'm like, this is great, And then other times I'm like, oh, I'm gonna play Lost Legacy, or whatever it is. So it's like I think the only times I buy games right away, it's if there's a cool pre-order bonus or there's something to that nature in there that compels me to do it. But for the most part, it's like a lot of me buying games on sale new. Like I was like, all right, $40, cool, and it's great, it works. But yes, as far as 3D platformers, I'm excited about. I got to play A Hat in Time when that comes out. I think I'm really going to like it. And then I don't know who knows what's next. If Spyro comes out, I'm going to be playing that. But there's a lot of weird ones too. Like as we talked about it, like I'm of the case of trying to dig up the old PS1 ones, like Jersey Devil. I'm looking to play. I need to play Croc, that series.
Right?
You
just
remember
love your
those
3D platformers.
I love them because I know them. I know where to look for stuff. I have Banjo-Kazooie on my 360 right now, just sitting there. There's so much stuff. I want to gain an appreciation for them because it's just, I don't know, they're my comfort food is the 3D platformers. So it's nice to see kind of a rise in that because good ones can be done well. And, people will come to them because there's not many of them anymore. So
exactly,
that's kind of where I'm at, man. All sorts of stuff, eclectic, but that is my favorite genre for sure. Sure.
If people have a bunch of questions about 3D platformers or how to beat Crash Team Racing or Crash 3 World 3, where would they find you online?
All right, you can go on Twitter at oh God, I just messed it up. You can go on Twitter at Austin DNLS. That's at Austin DNLS. and then you can find me and I can chat about that stuff. I've talked to Double D Doherty a couple times and about introducing levels and Crash.
Yeah, I was gonna say, just team up and go battle Tim Geddes in Crash Team Racing. Like, just get a group of people on Twitter. Just make sure you challenge him, make a good video. You'll be on Kind of Funny within no time.
With all due respect to the folks, I think I'll throw some shade at him. I think I could beat them both, you know.
There you go. We'll just do that.
I could.
That's always fun, talking shit on Twitter, right? It's what makes the world go round. All right, well,
that's all everybody else does, apparently.
Yeah, exactly, right? You just got to go with the crowd. So, again, man, thank you so much for being on the show. Thank you for sharing all your stories, and I really appreciate you were, one of the first people to message me when I first, launched the show and talked about it. So, and I appreciate all your interest. And again, man, thanks for being on the show.
Rich, before you go, I just want to say I totally believe in your show. What you're doing is really cool. And I think it brings the community together. You know, a lot of stuff on the internet's not so good right now, and you're a pleasure to talk to, and keep it up, man. You know, everybody keep listening in. You're doing good work, sir.
Thank you again, man. I appreciate it, man. You're awesome.
Take care, man.
See you, man. All right, and again, thank you, Austin, for being on the show. Again, I will have links in the show notes for all of his social media accounts, so if you want to go ahead and feel free to ask him a question on how to get certain boxes and certain crash levels. I'm sure he'll know the answer to them. If you guys want to be on the show and share your stories just like he did, go ahead and send me a tweet at GUG Podcast on Twitter. Also, you can go ahead and send me a tweet personally if you'd like to, which is at MitchPower1116. Again, thank you guys so much for returning each and every week to the show. Share it with a friend, rate us on iTunes, subscribe on one of the many different social media platforms out there. Maybe YouTube one day, maybe. Otherwise, I will catch you guys next week with another episode of the show. See ya.